Well, we're back. Neal Murphy back with Coach's Corner, and I think it's appropriate since we talk all the time. We need Coach O'Connor on Coach's Corner. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. It's good to be back. You know, obviously, normally around getting water, but we'll have our great staff bring us stuff.
Well, it's good to have you, and I figure it's almost time for pitchers and catchers. Let's talk a little baseball. First, let's talk about Coach O'Connor. You graduated in 94, yep. So you grew up in New Carrollton?
Grew up in New Carrollton.
Where'd you go to grade school?
I went to Kenmore Middle, so we had back-to-back Kenmore Middles with Austin Freeman on last show. Mm-hmm. Me, and then that after Kenmore had options, was in the tag program at Kenmore. Decided between Eleanor Roosevelt and this. As much as my dad really wanted me to go to Eleanor Roosevelt, so I didn't have to pay tuition, right. We chose on to Matha, and that's where I ended up playing for Charlie Sullivan.
And what was the deciding factor?
For me, it was the school. My mom obviously had a lot of relatives that my mom went to Notre Dame Academy. Okay. And saw the Catholic part of the equation, and it was the DeMatha, the people that knew DeMatha, and just how well DeMatha was respected in the community was the big reason I came.
Okay, so let's first talk about the academic side. You come in. Coming from a middle school, What was the adjustment like?
Adjustment was really quick. It was about a week, and that was the week I got a phone call from Rich Macheski talking about my ability to do better in school. And it was a wake-up call and something I'll never forget because he believed that I could have got by with C's, and he wasn't going to hold me to that level. Had Mary Yarish for math. I think she will say that I'm the only kid she's ever had for all 4 years at DeMatha, no matter what level I followed her.
It wasn't the same class.
It wasn't the same class. But,
okay, well, that's happened.
Yeah, I know. I understand that, but no, it was a tough transition. I didn't realize how much writing came into DeMatha until I came here, and really my junior year with Buck Offitz, one of the things, and I quote with British literature all the time, the stuff we did in the classrooms and stuff like that. But it was a fun 4 years. I know people talk about I hated it, but I remember the first day I came in here, and I remember the day I graduated.
Now, some of your friends at Kenmore Middle School, they went to the local public school, whatever. You're talking to them and they're saying, hey, I'm getting A's, I'm hardly working hard, this and that. Do you ever think that maybe I should try another school? Why am I killing myself?
No, I mean, it was, I hate to say it, it was funny because I had a lot of people that really wanted to be at DeMatha, hey, they were interested in how we were doing. And we had a lot of kids, at Kenmore, when you're in the tag program, you have a lot of smart kids. I mean,
right.
There's a couple kids working at NASA and rocket scientists, and they were very successful in what they did. And for me, I wanted a more well-rounded education, being a Catholic school kid,
right.
Having the ability of being in school, and then the athletics. I mean, for me, I didn't question that any bit.
Okay. And you got 4 years of baseball in, 2 on the JV and 2 on the varsity.
Yeah.
And what position did you play?
Played third base and I caught. Had 4 successful years. The 93 year, we were around that team that right now has the record at DeMatha. We at one time had a 50-game winning streak between 1992 and 1993. Ended up losing that year with a very talented group of kids. Ended up having 5 guys drafted to the 18 off that team. Didn't win our conference. Then my senior year in 1994, ended up hurting myself, but ended up watching our senior class win a championship, which was unbelievable.
Okay, and of course your coach was?
My coach was Charlie Sullivan.
Right.
To my knowledge, there's no question one of the best baseball coaches you'll ever hear. Won 500 games plus at DeMatha, 22 titles. I mean, he was a legend when it came to the WCAC.
He is that stereotype of the old school baseball guy, the lifer.
Well,
and good friend of mine. We were golfing buddies there. Actually, I got to play with him last year or so like that. But just a great guy. And not only that, the classes I teach, I teach mostly juniors and seniors. Sully would have basically those same guys in that track, freshman and sophomore year. So we had a lot of the same guys, and I just love working with Sully. And then also Vince Curley, you mentioned he had an effect on your life.
Yeah, Vince, my junior year, we didn't have a catcher in our program, or my senior, I should say. We didn't have a starting catcher, and Vince said, hey, Sean, I think you could be it. He ran a catching camp that he ran at Riverdale, talked me over, and basically in 5 days taught me with enough knowledge. And if you know Coach Curley, you'll know he is very detail-oriented. And what I had as far as ability, to me, is what really made me a coach, because I learned so much in that week that propelled me to be able to catch at the high school level.
Okay, so you leave here, and you go to Western Maryland, which eventually became McDaniel. You go up there, and what'd you major in up there?
So I majored in business administration up there. we'll get into what I do for a living now, but back then they didn't have the internet, so
Right.
business administration
Wasn't a career option.
Was not a career option. Business administration is what I did. I actually got there because I mentioned I hurt myself my senior year, and DeMatha's team doctor was Kevin Hanley. And Kevin Hanley's a graduate of Western Maryland College, and actually said, "Hey, why don't you look at this school?" And I remember saying to Dr. Hanley, "There's no way I can get into Western Maryland." He said, "Why don't you apply and see what happens?" And it's amazing. I got in, got academic money, and the rest is history as far as that best choice ever made.
Okay. And then how'd you end up back here?
So I went to college, and obviously, being a stubborn DeMatha guy, played through a couple injuries. Ended up herniating a disc in my back when I was 20 years old, and was forced to sit out an entire year. So when I came back, my baseball career was over. So I was a regular student. Coach Sullivan had an opening in February of 1999 and said, "Hey, would you like to come back here and coach?" And I said, "Well, Coach, I'm still in college." And he said, "Well, would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, I absolutely would be." We made a deal that I would come down 2 days a week, help out with the freshman program. That ended up being 5 days a week that I came down, commuted back and forth.
Welcome to DeMatha.
Yeah, exactly. Commuted back and forth from Westminster High School, 1999, and I'm still here coaching. And it's been an unbelievable run, to say the least.
Right. And then you took over when Sully stepped down. You took over.
Yeah. One of the unique experiences for me is in 2004, he asked me to be an assistant on the varsity. I was a head coach, moved up to being a head coach at the freshman level, moved up, coached that team with Brett Cecil, who I had coached as a freshman level for me as an assistant. And saw what it's like to coach for a guy who's totally different than what you were like. I'm aggressive. Charlie's, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And then when Charlie stepped down, actually Coach King asked me to be one of the candidates to go in, and I was luckily chosen, which was a surprise.
And we've got 2 championships on the books, right?
Yep. 2008, 2013. We've been in 5 in my 8 years. So we've been pretty successful in a very competitive Washington Catholic League.
And I know that 2013 team is very close to your heart.
Yeah.
Recent graduates, they always seem to be here. They're always together. They kind of define the team.
Yeah, no question. There's 5 of them in the stands down there if you look at them. What's unique about that team is people don't know the history of the athletics of DeMatha, but DeMatha's won a title every year since 1958. Going into that spring, we had not won a Catholic League title.
Wow.
We had lost in football. We had lost in basketball. Here we are. We're coming off the worst record in DeMatha history with that group. We end up going there. Lacrosse loses 2 days before the playoffs. And I will tell you that throughout that whole season, people at the school would just ask me, "Are we going to win? Are we going to win? Are we going to win?" And I'd always say, "We'll be fine. We'll be fine." We lose the first game of the playoff on Friday night. We come back and win on Sunday. We have a 1-game playoff. It's Monday, and it's the best atmosphere I've ever seen for a baseball player. Almost 2,000 people in the stands for a baseball game. People are walking. My kids are walking around the campus. Everybody's, "Can you win? Congratulations. Hope you do." It was just, for those kids, they ended up winning the game, being number 1 in the Washington Post, and it was a great story, to say the least.
Things you will never forget.
Nope, absolutely, no question about it.
Vernon, what about this year's team? How are we looking?
We'll be young. We got two really good classes, freshmen, sophomores. I already have some kids committed to college. We'll be good by the end. We're going to be in the hunt. There's no question. I expect us to be there last day of the season.
Now, real quick, what do you do during the day?
So I own a broadcasting company, so I do everything from the crazy fun things, get to play with drones and take pictures of real estate properties, to producing videos and doing different things like that. Back when the company was first around, I would travel and follow DeMatha basketball.
I know we go to Houston, and you'd be up there broadcasting the game.
Absolutely. I would be on the road 10 to 12. Now, luckily, because of, being the varsity job and not having that kind of time commitment, I'm around a little bit more. But, I've done everything from Texas State finals to big-time tournaments to pros to LeBron versus Carmelo Anthony in a game. So we do that and do some minor league teams, and it's a lot of fun. We're a partner for Google, have been for over 12 years.
Well, that's great, but the one thing you have to remember, your most important job is right here.
Absolutely.
Right here. Sean, this is great.
Thanks
a lot.
I appreciate it.
All right, let's go Stags. Second half coming.